very honored to ask the Minister of Environmental Protection in Israel, Mr. Gilad Erdan, who is a very unique minister. He do care about what he's in charge of. Please, Gilad.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm sorry that you had to stop because of me, but I'm very sorry. It was very important for me as the representative of the government to come here, although the schedule today of the government is very, very busy, so I apologize. But I hope that the things that I will say here on behalf of the Israeli government will justify the short stop in your speech, so apologize again. Distinguished visitors, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to open first of all by welcoming our 8 eminent guests from overseas who have come to enlighten us, and I stopped them, with their expertise and experience regarding the infrastructure for research into taxonomy and biodiversity, as well as the means for strengthening the connection between decision makers, researchers, and practitioners. Can I close this? Okay, thank you. The importance of biodiversity for the existence of mankind has been recognized by the world for a long time. Efforts to protect biodiversity as well as measures to mitigate global warming are now high on the global environmental agenda and assisted by intergovernmental expert frameworks such as the IPPC, the Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change on issues of climate change, and the IPBEC, the Intergovernmental Panel for Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, on the issue of biodiversity and ecosystem services. Biodiversity is one of those wonderful phenomena, like the ozone layer that surrounds the Earth or the force of gravity, without which our lives wouldn't be the same. But nevertheless, most of us, especially the politicians, as Shaul mentions, are not aware of them. We are not familiar with the way they operate and do not accord them the respect they deserve. In recent decades, the human race has been evolving rapidly. This accelerated development has been felt in climate change. We are already experiencing its consequences and are deeply concerned about it. In addition, the pressures of development are reducing open spaces, the landscape and ecosystems, not to mention places like in Israel, where the density is so high. These same ecosystems, and I'm not just talking about nature reserves, but the forest and woods, freshwater, deserts, and of course agricultural and even urban systems that provide humans with the services and benefits that we take for granted, such as food, fiber, water, and air purification, flood control, medicinal materials, recycling, pollinations, a suitable environment for leisure and vacation activities, inspiration, and much, much more. All these benefits rely primarily on a collection of species of flora and fauna, with which Israel has been blessed. If we once thought that biodiversity should be protected for its beauty and its intrinsic value, today we realize that our existence depends on biodiversity. And this is the major change in perception. If we once thought it was enough to preserve the plants, the large and beautiful flowers and large animals in nature reserves and parks, we now realize that our life depends on a much wider tapestry, including small creatures that are not only useful but essential to our survival. In Israel, which covers a small territory but is one of the world's most densely populated countries, there are many factors which threaten biodiversity. We must understand that the rapid rate of development and the constant heroism of open spaces are jeopardizing all the benefits or ecosystem services, as they are commonly referred to, and that these services are essential to human well-being and development. Therefore, the negative impact of development on biodiversity is harmful to humans, threatens our well-being and long-term existence, and does not allow for development to be sustainable development. Only development that maintains the level of biodiversity required for human welfare can survive over time and will be sustainable, as I said. The threat to biodiversity is largely due to man's improper conduct, of course, which sometimes produces fruit in the short term, but results in losses in the long term. Agricultural areas are an important part of the fabric of open spaces, but the agricultural system also presents a potential conflict regarding preservation of biodiversity. The benefits derived from agricultural areas in terms of food production are larger than those from natural areas, but they come at the expense of other benefits that natural areas provide. Uncontrolled use, for example, of poisons and pesticides is one of the greatest threats to biodiversity, to the water economy and to the natural environment and human health in Israel. And of course my ministry is dealing with those threats. Poisons indiscriminately damage entire ecosystems and have unfortunately led to extinction of various species, such as birds of prey, one species of vulture, the Nubian, I hope I pronounce it well, Shaul, the Nubian or lappet-faced vulture. That's how you pronounce it? I hope you know it. Has completely, in Hebrew I will say it better, has completely disappeared from Israel. And the griffon vulture population is in serious decline. Draining the lake and welfare of the Hula Valley brought about the extinction of a toad. The toad I know how to pronounce, agulashon shchor gachon, yes. The Israeli painted toad, which was found only in Israel and has now become extinct. The biodiversity of plants is also important in minimizing the greenhouse effect. Israel is committed to participating in international efforts to maintain its plant diversity in order to mitigate global warming and subsequent climate change. In this context, and I hope I'm not interrupting anyone, in this context we particularly remember the tragic event of the Great Fire in Carmel Range in December 2010, which in addition to the severe damage to nature, the fire spread to 25,000 hectares of trees, also resulted in the loss of life of 44 people. The Carmel Park is an open space of quality which has great significance. It includes a nature reserve, national park and forest areas incorporating nature, landscape and heritage. The Carmel Park functions as an outdoor recreation area for the population of metropolitan Haifa and other parts of the country. Every year it attracts some 2 million hikers and visitors who enjoy its attractions. The Carmel has been recognized by UNESCO as a biosphere reserve, which requires maintaining the biodiversity of the forest and natural woods and the strengthening and restoration of wildlife while maintaining and developing economic activities and tourist and recreation development on the Carmel. After the Carmel fire, much was done to draft recommendations for the appropriate management of the forest. A fire of the size and intensity we experience on the Carmel has long-term ecological consequences, and these uncontrollable fires are dangerous both to the ecosystems and to humans, of course. In light of new understandings and insights about the importance of biodiversity and ecosystem services, a national biodiversity plan for Israel was prepared. The Ministry of Environmental Protection, together with Israel Nature and Parks Authority and representatives from academia, prepared this plan for maintaining biodiversity. It was written by experts involved in many aspects of biodiversity and includes a wide-ranging and comprehensive action plan for protection and connectivity. Israel is a signatory to the Convention on Biological Diversity, and within this context, many countries in the world have prepared similar plans and which have already been implemented for a number of years. Israel's action plan covers the activity of many government ministries and offers suggestions for implementing a principle of sustainable development. The action plan includes a variety of recommendations regarding land use, the connectivity of open spaces, required changes in legislation, the use of appropriate economic tools and incentives in agriculture and other sectors, and for increasing public awareness through education and advocacy. Although the idea of biodiversity and the benefits and services it provides to man have been familiar in academic circles for decades, unfortunately they are barely known to the general public in Israel, and I don't know how is it around the world. In all 7 institutions of higher education and research in Israel, as well as in other bodies, researchers are conducting studies in fields related, directly or indirectly, to Israel's biodiversity. In addition, Israel has several government institutes and companies, such as the Marine Research Institute in Haifa and the Agricultural Research Center, the Volcani Center, of course. The Ministry of Environmental Protection, of course, is committed to Israel's National Biodiversity Plan and will continue to promote it further in cooperation with various ministries, while also searching for close cooperation between the ministry, scientists, and practitioners. And this for the preservation of biodiversity, for our own good and for benefit of future generations. As the Minister of Environmental Protection and as a person who believes that the land of Israel was given to Israel by God, I believe that the connection between the nation and its homeland is not only through its history, heritage, and archaeological sites, the importance of which I do not underestimate, of course, but in the connection, also in the connection between the general public and the land, nature, wildlife, and birds, especially to the species unique to our country. To my mind, our commitment to the land of Israel must be expressed not only in words but also in deeds, and in maintaining open spaces, the rivers, water, soil, and the biodiversity of the land of Israel. Thank you very much and have a fruitful day. Thank you.